And welcome to another episode of the Orange and Brew podcast. I'm Dr. Nicholas Manning. Find me on Twitter at dr_n_Manning. I am joined by a fantastic guest. Yes, we meant to invite him. My man at Whitfield, at Whitville on Twitter. You can also chat with him in a bunch of areas. So he runs the AFC West Battleground X group chat, Raider Nation Blitz group chat, and hosts Raider Spaces on X or Twitter, whatever we want to call it. I'm still going to call it Twitter. I know that's how it's going to go. With an objective to build a platform for Raider Nation and AFC West fans to come together and talk as a whole about ball. Really appreciate you. You can find him again at Whitville, WHITVILLE. My man, what's up? How are you?
Welcome. Glad for y'all to have me. My name is Whit. People call me Whit. My name is Garrett Whitley. I'm avid Raiders fan, diehard Raiders fan. You can find me at Whitville on all platforms, Twitter, Twitter, X, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Glad to be here. Anybody in the AFC West, Broncos fans, please feel free to follow me. I'll follow you back, and then you can add to the group chat as we have. But yeah, I am a avid supporter of Raider Nation. I'm glad to be here on the Broncos podcast.
Yeah, man. I've appreciated our chats. For sometimes people think that people with other rooting interests are like the boogeyman, or they're just people who like football and enjoy it. Not everyone is a tool bag. We talked about that. But everyone's got one of those tool bags in their fandom. So regardless of, if you don't have one, it's you, people. So just keep that in mind. Really excited to talk with you today. Both my co-hosts, I think, dropped out like flies. One had a work-related issue. Another one had a meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if they jump on late, but you know what? You're the guest of honor anyway, so they're welcome. We're going to talk about a lot. Talk a little bit about the Raiders, how things have come from camp. I'll provide some insight to some Raiders fans who are jumping in and will be watching this or listening to the podcast later, just to give both perspectives about the two teams that will be facing off on Sunday here at Empower Field at Mile High. And then we'll talk about the matchup specifically, what each team needs to do to win. But maybe first and foremost, what's your general take of the offseason, maybe before training camp, the additions, subtractions? What did you like? What did you not like there in Vegas? And how do you think that front office did putting this team together?
So it's two different sides with Raider Nation. You have a side that is very optimistic. They're hoping that we have a great season. Some of the moves that they like, especially the draft class, they like. But then you have another side that's, for one instance, they love Derek Carr. We got rid of Derek Carr. This all season, we decided to split ways, go to New Orleans, and we pick up Jimmy G. And then you have, on the other side, you have a side that's not optimistic or wants the team to do well, but they see that we haven't made significant, changes to help boost our roster or our future as well too. So, as far as my take is, I'm kind of in the middle. It's going into the off season. I'm glad that we parted ways with Derek. He's a great guy, but after 19 years of getting the same results, you bring in different coaches and you releasing different players and everything like that. Sometimes you gotta look yourself in the mirror, and I'm glad that we split so that he can have his career like in the Saints, and then we can also go in a different direction and see how things go. But as far as off season, just the outlook of our off season is that we had a whole lot of guys and had a lot of dead money on their not on the team, like Corey Littleton and other guys that are on the team, or he got in trouble, or just wasn't a fit that we still had to pay money for. So it kind of limit us to make some big moves, but we still had the opportunity to make those moves in free agency and sign some linebackers or corners or wide receivers and anything like that. But this regime with Dave Ziegler, Champ Kelly, they kind of went like the depth route in the offseason free agency and kind of wanted to solidify or replace some of those pieces that we got rid of or lost. So we lost, Darren Waller, and then we lost Derek Carr, and then it's other pieces as well too. But we signed. It's like kind of put like a band-aid on some of these players. Like we release Waller, but then we draft Michael Mayer. Got rid of Carr, and then we bring in Jimmy G, and then we drafted Aiden O'Connell in the 4th round. So some moves in the offseason, I wish we were more aggressive, like try to get some good quality guys to fit those holes. Like we never really had a great linebacker core since like early 200s. I mean, not 2000s.
Yeah,
so
that'd be a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So I think as far as that, I think we could have been a little bit more aggressive in that, especially in the defense. The defense has been like bottom half of the league for a long time. So I think as far as drafting like a rookie quarterback earlier in the draft or later on, which was not preferred by a lot of fans, I think that either way they're walking to a great situation with the offense. But I think we just should have been more aggressive on the defensive side of the ball.
We got a question for you. So, given the offseason changes, what style of offensive play do you expect to see from the team, and will it differ from last year? From our guy Rich A.
What's up, Rich A? So last year, if you paid attention, you saw the difference between Derek Carr coming in into the he played his games, and then when we benched him, that's when Jarrett Stidham came in. Now keep in mind,
Denver Bronco great, Jarrett Stidham.
So Jarrett Stidham has been with ever since he's been in the league, he's been over there in New England with Josh McDaniels and Belichick and all of them as well. So he understands McDaniels' system as well.
Mm-hmm.
So coming from New England to Las Vegas, he really didn't have that was his first career NFL start, basically, was against the 49ers. And the 49ers had like a top 3, top 5 defense last year. So within Derek Carr, you could see throughout the year that, I guess some of the things that we're doing kind of limited. And, the playbook wasn't really like opening up like it should be. And then compare that to Jarrett Stidham coming in against the Broncos later in the season. Now you see, okay, Darren Waller came back. We're running the ball heavy, but still we're going play action ball. They bootleg, throwing out to Darren Waller, or we're opening up the defense. Have Stedman's running out the pocket more. Using his legs when the pocket's collapsing compared to like Derek. Sometimes he has to work on that, like coming out in the pocket, running, and also holding on to the ball as well. So I think as far as this offense this year, you'll see kind of like a glimpse of last year with Jarrett Stidham, but also you'll see, Jimmy G and Jarrett Stidham is like a difference. Jimmy G's been in the league. He's been a starter. He's been, made a playoff run. He's been to the Super Bowl. So he's familiar with Josh McDaniels' system. So I think you'll see, I think it will be run. They will kind of be run heavy a little bit, but that will lead it to like play action and also setting up different plays as well for us to expand the offense and be more efficient.
What do you expect from Josh Jacobs? So obviously the franchise tag got used, holdout, all that good stuff was just, it's part of the business. It's how things go. Playing on that franchise tag, he had stellar year, right? By far, in my opinion, the best that we've seen of Josh Jacobs. He was consistent throughout, flash as a receiver, regardless of whether teams geared to stop him, he found ways to get things done. With the offensive line and the pieces you have there, with Jimmy G being there, I think it probably provides a little bit more consistency, a little more rhythm. Less athletic guy, but probably more in tune with the offense, like you said. What do you expect from Jacobs? What kind of year do you think he'll have?
I still think Josh Jacobs is going to be Josh Jacobs. It seems like since he's been in the league, he's been progressing more and more each year. As far as the holdout that he had, this offseason, And then compared to like last season as well, we didn't pick up a 6-year option. I think it's just part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
With when Ziegler, when you have a new regime coming in, they want to evaluate all talent throughout the board. Like nobody's safe unless you're like guaranteed like Max Crosby or whatever. But I think that they wanted to, basically like have Josh Jacobs prove it. So like, hey, you know, we don't want to commit to like a contract to you, because running back market is kind of shaky anyway. But let's just see what we're working with. So, he has that great year, leading rusher throughout the NFL, and then the next following season, that's when owners and GMs are evaluating the running back position. And you see like Isaiah Pacheco from Kansas City, 7th round coming in, and then you have a whole bunch of undrafted free agents coming out in the draft. Coming into certain teams and like performing well. So you have those type of running backs throughout the league, and then that come in and do a good job that are underpaid or either under the market of the running back or
Mm-hmm.
just right there. So that's so I think as far as Josh Jacobs, I think he'd be fine. He's a veteran, so when veterans trying to hold out, they don't want to come to training camp and everything like that. They're already doing their work all
Right.
season long. So I think as far as that move, like as far as like Tony Pollard being signed, Dalvin Cook being signed, Saquon being signed, I think it was a writing on the wall for him to get like a deal done. Like you're not probably gonna get a long-term deal, so just take this 1-year deal and then we can revisit that again next year. But I think though it's like he wants to be a Raider, but at the same time it's business at the end of the day.
Yep.
So um, it might be shaky, like depending how the season goes, he might have to do some tough decisions. Like, hey, I want to be a Raider, but at the same time, it's like I got to feed my family. Like, I need some security. I need some security in my football career.
Yeah.
Like so.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's like back in my day. I'm gonna go old here.
Mm-hmm.
Running back was the premium position.
Yeah.
You were the guy that was gonna get touches all the time. Your best athletes played running back in high school, etc. Because that was the way to maximize touches. And so now in today's NFL, like you said, because there's such a gluttony of athletes and good contributors at that position, the value of each individual has went down because there's so many that can come in and contribute. The league has found ways through the passing offense, the emphasis on being able to throw the ball. It's kind of reduced the need to be as physical up front. Maybe before I got a few different questions for you, but I really want to know, I know we've kind of chatted a little bit about it within the group chat, but what's going on with Chandler Jones, man?
See, he had a similar, or he had an incident in New England, but
yeah, that was right before the AFC Championship game here.
I'm guessing it's something mental, like mental health is real, people. So, a lot of things like we look at these NFL players like celebrities, but at the same time, it's just like they're regular people like us. So you have to look at the standpoint as if he's up in age, and then he really did have a great Chandler Jones year that we've usually seen throughout the years, and then next thing you know is like hey, my successor's coming in the first round, Tyree Wilson is like, a whole bunch of things coming into, he has to take into account. So I think it's something dealing with that, like, mental health, like, had a crisis team come in. I guess the team sent a crisis team to come see about him and everything like that. So it's been a crazy few days because we really haven't seen this side of Chandler Jones when he came to the team. Like, he's just really been like behind the scenes, like, cool dude, great guy to, a locker room guy, and he really hasn't really caused any problems. So like, this was kind of like random. And then also, yeah, I mean, like the things he's been posting, like sometimes it lead up to like, hey, it might be something mental or like he needs help. So, him being away from the team right now is great as long as he's getting the help that he needs, and that we're, utilizing all our resources to help them. So
in the end, we root for people, right? We want to make sure
yeah.
Chandler's okay. I do know, because of the connection to his brother John Jones, who has had a history of substance abuse too, that you hope that those two things are separate. But in the end, like you said, just rooting for him, hoping that he gets what he needs and he gets back on the field. Never root against guys having issues.
Yeah.
You want everyone to play. You want the game to be as fair and as fun as possible. He's got people relying on him and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely was odd, considering his relationship with those two, the front office and the GM and his head coach from previous stops. So before we go into more stuff, back on a positive route, give me a player or two that Broncos country wouldn't probably know about, but they should know about it before Sunday.
Offense, keep an eye on Trey Tucker. You may see a mixture of like Zamir White coming in with Jacobs, just coming back this week. The O-line is going to be a big key this week as far as Broncos defense. With the audition of Zach Allen, and also have Randy Gregory back and Browning and everything like that. So the O-line is going to be key. I would say Trey Tucker. Jacoby Myers must be coming from New England, but defense. I would say Tyree Wilson.
Okay.
Because Chandler Jones.
How has he looked in camp? What's the take on him? He definitely has the the stereotypical boom or bust, right? Physical freak, put it together 1 year, has all the tools. However, right, like I don't know anything about him as a person. How's he working? All that good stuff. So yeah, what's your initial take on Tyree Wilson? Because that him stepping in, if Chandler Jones is out for any significant amount of time, you hope that gives him an opportunity to.
So Tyree has been working hard. That's what press conferences and coaches, Medeo, Ziegler. That's what everybody's been saying. Reporters. He's been working hard. He didn't get on the field till like the second day of the Rams joint practice. So he's he's been working hard, getting back to it. I mean, he's a freak of nature. I mean, we saw the various videos from training camp, joint practices, and also the Dallas game as well. So he's a raw talent. I mean, he's like a puzzle piece, to be honest. It's a long-term project. He just have to develop his techniques, get better on his techniques. But within that, man, you just need we need playing time, and you just need But I think as far as like this, it's instant with Chandler. I think he'll see more reps this past Sunday. I mean, this upcoming Sunday. And I think it's more so technique, man, and just him just staying healthy, keeping that foot healthy, and then just wreaking havoc. I mean, he has the power. I mean, he can bull rush you all the time, but I mean, you do need technique sometimes too.
Well, is he usually playing on the right side or left side as of now, or do they move Matt? Because I know Max usually plays over the right tackle, or at least had. Are any adjustments there? Anything that they're moving around to kind of give different looks?
Yeah, see, it depends. So with Chandler probably not playing, another good player to look at is Malcolm Kuntz. You probably haven't seen too much about him. I mean, you drafted him a couple years ago, but he's been hiding behind Chandler Jones and Max Crosby's and those pass rushers at the end. So he had a great preseason as well, showed some signs. But with Tyree, I think the way we want to utilize Tyree is like you want to bounce him sometimes inside, have him standing up, dropping coverage, and also just rushing at the end. you had crowd. Sometimes I think they just want to get creative with him. With Rob Leonard coming from outside linebacker coach, DN coach coming from Baltimore to be our D line coach. I think you're just going to see more like as the year progresses. I think you're going to see more so Tyree just bouncing around. You might see him next to Max Crosby sometimes. You might see him next to Chandler Jones. 3 technique, 4 eye, 9 like he was against Dallas when he made that big, blow up play. So I think he's just going to be around everywhere in different packages. So, but yeah.
Great. We got one more question from our guy Orange Crush. One, still upset that Netane Muti went to Vegas. One, is he still on the roster? Is he on the practice squad potentially? And if so, any word about him?
As far as Moody, I really didn't hear too much about him. He showed some flashes, like some practices, like he was dominant. Sometimes, and other practices he was just like up and down. But it's like as far as our O-line group, man, it's been real competitive, especially that right guard position. We really wasn't sure about that right guard position with Alex Bars. I know that he is not on our 53.
No, I think he's on the practice squad.
Yeah, I think he's on the practice squad. But yeah, he's had a really up and down camp. I mean, it's been real competitive. We brought in guys that that we had last year. They may have got hurt or was on the back burner. And then also we brought in some guys like Moody as well. Greg Van Roden that started for us. Curtis McLean, undrafted free agent from I think it's Tennessee Chattanooga. So yeah, those type of guys. Like it's been a battle this offseason, training camp, OTAs. So yeah, Moti, yeah, he's he's been up and down, but he's shown some signs, and I guess that's why we brought him back on the practice squad just in case somebody goes down.
Yeah, he was a fan favorite. He's a bull in a china shop. Questionable in the pass pro, but we're gonna take a quick break here because I have a beer to try that my co-hosts have, and then we will come back. We're gonna preview Broncos versus Raiders here in just a few moments. So first and foremost, it is here. It never gets old. Never gets old. Classic. I have asked people that work for me now. There are some people who have not seen that movie. I think it is criminal, and you should be judged in front of a jury. Just saying. But I'm going to try. So this beer is from Texas. Again, it's from our guy Orange Crush. So this is the Meccano Haze, which is 6.5 ABV. Only 15 IBU, so a little lighter on the lighter side. It's a juicy, velvety, easy drinkability, and enjoy responsibly. We'll see if we'll enjoy it. We got to be a little critical here, but it's from Dripping Springs, Texas. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. Wait, do you enjoy the occasional beer, and if so, you got any favorites out there?
Yeah, drink a Blue Moon here and there, Coronas. What is it? Land Sharks. I mean, I kind of like the lime, the lime type, beers and everything like that. So that's pretty much it.
I do like how you went with Blue Moon, which is a Colorado beer, but
yep.
I like it. See, your fandom doesn't keep you from enjoying some of the nice things. I myself love Vegas. I've been there more than I have been anywhere else in the world. It's a good time as long as you enjoy it responsibly.
Oh yeah.
So like anywhere, if you enjoy it too much, it'll win. That's how the buildings got so big there. They don't They don't lose too much. Appreciate Orange Crush. So again, it's a nod to Matthew McConaughey. Days of Confused, I assume. All right. Avid Longhorns fan, and tremendous book if you ever read it or listen to it on Audible. Green Lights, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Love me some Matthew McConaughey. So far for this beer, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, Dripping Springs, Texas knows how to do it apparently. So Orange Crush, nice job. I appreciate you, my guy. I'm gonna go ahead and keep sipping this while we get to our next segment. We're gonna find out who's gonna win. We're gonna talk about that and why here on the other side of this here beer time.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
So, Mister, what with everything that we talked about, so it looks like both teams relative to the start of the season are going to be healthy based on their 53-man roster. Some questions here about whether or not Jerry Jeudy will play. I assume he will not, but he is a much more heavy participant today in practice than he has been. So I don't know that he won't, but I would assume that he shouldn't. So with all that being said, give me a couple keys on offense for who or what has to perform well for the Raiders to come in and get a win in week one.
I think first it starts with the O-line. It starts and ends with the O-line, trenches. Code and Luminor, right tackle, left tackle. But I think as far as the keys for us to dictate a win is going to be the interior O-line. I mean, you have Grave Van Roden at right guard. You have Dylan Parham at left guard. Then you have Andre James at center. I think those guys have to be dominant. That savvy Denver in front. And then also within that, just protect Jimmy Garoppolo and also create lanes for Josh Jacobs. I think we're going to start we're trying to introduce the run, establish a run early. And hopefully that works out so they can limit the load off of Jimmy so he doesn't have to, make sure that, he doesn't have to feel like he has to throw, 30, 40, 45 times. He can just rely on the run game and everything like that.
What would be your threshold? So if Jimmy throws this much, this many times, it's not a good sign. What's your watermark here? If he throws within this, that probably means we're running the ball well. What's a good mixture for you if you were to prescribe it here for the Raiders offense?
I'll say about like 35, 40 times. I just think that with him, it's like he's just, I think he has the ability to be that type of quarterback, but I think it's more of sort of like a game manager. So you have that type of quarterback, when the run game is going and, he's just moving the ball down the field well, getting to the receivers, tight ends, anybody, running backs out in the backfield. I think that you don't really have to like depend on him to do that much. So I think as far as our run game is going to determine, if we can get our run game going, it's going to determine a lot as far as with the offense and also how the game is going to go. Last year, we had over 500 record when Josh Jacobs had 20 plus carries, and he did, and things were kind of bad for us. I think that's still the same thing that's going on. I think that's kind of like the motto going to this year is like, hey, feed Josh Jacobs, feed those running backs in general, just so that just keep the defense on the toes so that can set up the play action, or anything else in that nature.
Yeah, I think the Broncos have not been able to consistently stop Josh Jacobs over the last 6 games, which has led to the Broncos losing each of the last 6 games. My opinion definitely is if they can get it to be a Jimmy Garoppolo has to throw the ball game. I think that benefits the Broncos defense because that's a pretty talented back end. Like you said, the ability to keep the defense off their toes has been something that the Raiders have been able to do consistently over the past several matchups. The Broncos have to do it better this time. Mike Purcell is back healthy, who is a phenomenal run defender, and so it is DJ Jones. I really like Zach Allen. I'm not sure how much they're going to have him, line up as that traditional defensive end, or if he's going to stand up a bunch. Randy Gregory has shown the ability to be a really good edge setter. If he's on the field, which has always been a coin flip. And Jonathan Cooper, I'm not sure how familiar Raiders Nation is with Jonathan Cooper, former 7th round pick out of Ohio State.
Yeah,
has been impressive. I was not really a Cooper believer. I thought he's a nice rotational guy, but with Baron Browning out, Jonathan Cooper has really been. He's been that dude. It was so against the Rams. He showed up really well in joint practices. Each preseason matchup, he's been a guy that's not only held up against the run, but has been able to get consistent pressure and really wrecked the offensive line for Denver throughout their practices. So we'll see if that translates. In the end, you're not really sure when you practice a bunch against your own guys.
Yeah.
It could be an indictment on your own guys, or it could be that you found yourself a baller. And so really excited about that matchup. That is the one that I'll watch for. The Broncos interior linebackers, off-ball linebackers are both really good, smart, heady, good communicators in Alex Singleton and Josie Jewell. Secondary is the strength of the team. I have no doubt. Up front, I don't know. I don't know how that matchup will go, and I really agree with you. Whoever really wins, especially on that interior, if it's 3rd and 3, that to me is going to be how the game is won or lost. If the Raiders are able to consistently get those first downs, then Denver's going to have a hard time. The offense isn't built, just kind of like the Raiders. The offense is not built right now to be able to go put up 35 in a shootout, and so they really have to be able to get stops and get crucial stops, and that wasn't the case last year for sure. One concern I have, I'm really a Michael Mayer guy. I think he was my tight end 1. I thought he was really, really great coming out of Notre Dame. I may or may not have drafted him in a few of my fantasy football leagues. I don't know how much he'll contribute this year, but I think having 2 quality tight ends in Hooper and Mayer, that to me will, that creates some diversification in what you can do with your packages, et cetera. So how much have you heard from him during camp? Is he someone that has been featured? And if so, are you as excited about him as I am?
Yeah, I'm very excited about him, but again, he's a rookie.
You can't say you're really excited about him and then say but.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to lead on to that. I mean, so he's one of the top tight ends coming out of the draft with a loaded tight end class in general this past draft. But the thing about him is that he's been known for his blocking and also catching the ball as well too. Mm-hmm. But going through camp and also joint practicing and also preseason, that's been one of his things that he's been struggling with, is blocking. So that's part of the reason why Hooper is our number 1 right now in the depth chart, which is always subject to change, which I think it will change throughout the season. But I think he just gotta work more on that as far as like his craft in general, like blocking and then receiving as well too. I mean, because he's just a rookie in general coming in. But I think you will see some 2 tight end sets, and everything like that. But Hooper is the one that's going to be starting for us. But he's having great practice anyway. I mean, I don't know if you saw the clip of Max Crosby like bulldozing him, to the ground.
Yeah, but to his defense, Max Crosby does that to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean he does. But
it's like when you watch interior guards go against Aaron Donald.
But the thing about it is with Mayer's like in that clip is like when he comes out his stance, he's like this. You know, you have your hands like this when you're supposed to have your hands in the inside.
Locked out. Yep.
So when the defender has inside leverage on you, and he has, you know,
A wrap.
It's a wrap. It's like nothing you can do. I mean, unless you can try to sling them, but I mean that's just holding. So
I do think being a tight end, rookie tight end, in my opinion, you know, probably outside of quarterback, and I don't even know, maybe even more than quarterback now, is such a difficult position because the transition from, you know, he at Notre Dame, he's catching 50, 60, 70 balls, right? He's not asked to do a lot. And when he has to block, he's bigger, stronger, faster than most of the guys that he's going up against. You transition, right? In 6 months, you come to the NFL and you're small, you know, 235, 240. You're going against 270, 280 pound defensive linemen. Like, you no longer have the physical advantage, and your technique needs work. You know, it's not something that usually gets worked on a ton. Because they want you to do what they want you to do in college so they can get wins. We have something really similar. You know, I think offensively, there's some really interesting correlations between the Broncos and the Raiders. So, for instance, right, you hope that your quarterback can come in and capture a little bit of yesteryear. Same with Russell Wilson, you know, hoping that a fresh perspective, you know, bringing in a coach that can highlight some of his, you know, his strengths will really help out, but you're not really sold on him. And, you know, you got kind of a backup plan. Similar, you know, want to lean on the run game. That's where Denver's at. We also have a really athletic pass catching young tight end who probably can't block and may never. And Greg Dulcich, that guy, you know, is a matchup nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Payton has done a good job about bringing in Adam Troutman, who, you know, the vet, you know, can do it all, but not great at everything, good at most things, that kind of guy. Similar to Austin Hooper, you know, similar situation, comes in, you know, he's going to be your guy that will be in on most sets. Brought in a blocking tight end and Manhurts, who is all of like 270. That guy's arms have arms like that. He's a freak of nature, but he's not going to really be a guy that's going to threaten you down the field. So I think there'll be a lot of mixing and matching. This offense will only be productive if they can run the ball, and not just attempts. I think some offenses, they just have to show you they're willing to do it. You know, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Buffalo, you know, those are probably a couple of the few teams. Most other teams, they have to be really kind of be successful with it for you to really cheat and believe that. And I think that's what Denver has to do. I think Denver has to be able to be willing to run the ball. And there's been some questions. So they brought in two really high-priced free agents, and Ben Powers, who is a massive, massive human being at left guard, and then Mike McGlinchey, who is even more massiver at right tackle, who kind of fills that out, addresses a right tackle need that has been abysmal in Denver for quite some time. Ask Khalil Mack as he ran over Michael Schofield for five sacks in yesteryear. It's been that bad for that long. However, he got hurt pretty early, and during camp, he didn't look that great. Ben Powers has been maybe one of the least impressive offensive linemen. So you hope that familiarity, more snaps, some continuity will help over the last couple of weeks. But it is definitely a question mark for sure. So we hope that maybe that gets improved. Garrett Bowles is he's either phenomenal or he loses cool and he's grabbing and hugging people. Yeah. I mean, there really is there's not a lot of middle ground. There's not average. You know, it's just his demeanor, and we'll see. Lloyd Cushenberry has looked a lot better. Really excited actually about his progression. Really big fan coming out of LSU. He regressed over the last couple of years. Had really terrible coaching last year. The whole offensive line did. Butch Berry is god awful. And how he has a job, I don't know. That's questionable. It's questionable. So again, kind of similar, right? If the interior line plays well, this offense will probably play well. Samaje Perine and Javonte Williams. Jaleel McLaughlin is a guy that, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Super fast, all-time leading rusher in college football at Youngstown State. The guy has a blur. And so I think he is a guy that if Raiders Nation is not aware of, should pay attention. Number 38 comes out there. That guy is special. Can't do everything. He's not going to hold up in pass pro. Not much bigger than me, if at all. However, he gets a ball in his hands, he's pretty special. So, my assumption, I think you would agree, both teams need to be able to run the ball. If they can run the ball to some success, even average success, play action opens up. You're going to be able to get some one-on-one matchups. So a guy like Devontae Adams will be able to shine. Similar with Cortland Sutton, you'll be able to get some favorable matchups in some one-on-one scenarios. Defensively, so I have been on the record for not being impressed by the moves that the Raiders have made defensively. I feel like it's kind of left the offense out to dry. You said it as much. It's been a bottom half group for a while. In Denver, we've suffered the other way. Our defense has been pretty good. Our offense has been terrible. So what does the Raiders defense need to be able to do to stop a Broncos offense that should be improved? That doesn't say a ton because they were really bad, but should be improved. Sean Payton has never had a bad offense. I don't think that'll start now. So what are your thoughts? What do they need to do? Maybe some impressions about how that group can be successful, and then what are some of your worries? What are some of your concerns going into Sunday?
Well, I think for us, the keys of victory from defense side is mainly winning the line of scrimmage. Two, containing Russell Wilson. We know that Russ had a down year, but that wasn't the Russ that we typically see. Russ's game is usually he's a killer. When he's outside of the pocket, when he's running with his legs and everything like that, and throwing outside the pocket, throwing on the run. So I think that we just need to try to contain him in the pocket, try to make those reads, those throws inside the pocket, and limit him trying to run around. Also, we just need to stop the run. You have questions on your O line, but I think last year problem with us is like also stop the run tack as well too. We all have a great set of backs. Javonte Williams coming off. I mean, he's freaking nature. I mean, I'm surprised he came back so fast off of that ACL.
I still can't believe it. I went to 5 practices, watched it. I still don't believe that it happened.
Yeah, and I drafted him a lot in my fantasy leagues too. But I mean, you bring him, you have him, and then you bring in somebody, P. Ron, then the guy that you said as well too. So I feel like that's a great running back room. So I feel like we just got to contain that as well too. We don't know that what the updates with Jerry Jeudy, but you still have Cortland Sutton. You have Marvin Mims you drafted as well. So we just have to try to contain that, not give up a whole lot of big plays, keep everything in front, but also try to get off the field as well too. I think what's been killing us the past few years is us not being able to get off the field, especially third downs as well too, third and longs or third and medium, third and shorts, man. Just getting off the field in general. It's been killing as far as the defense or the team in general, man. It's just like we just gotta just get off the field, and I think with the addition of Marcus Peters and who drafted Jacorian Bennett, who I love on the outside, and also
tell us a little bit about him. I think he's someone. So you already have a question. The Raiders secondary is a question mark. Marcus Peters, I think we know what to expect. High volatility, big play guy. Will give up some, but at least a veteran who has been an above-average player in the league for a while. However, don't know much about Jacorian Bennett. Tell us a little bit about him and what to expect.
Jacorian Bennett's from Maryland. Great kid. I don't know his accolades. I know I think he was like Big Ten selection. I don't know, second team, first team. I don't know, but he's all Big Ten, something like that. But typically with him is like he was one of the top rated corners out of I don't know if last year or the year before, but as far as coverage or anything like that. But the coverage has been in Maryland has been Deonte Banks, who went the first round to the Giants. And you have the kid who's upsized like that, he's 6'1" frame, lightning speed, can cover. Those are typically the guys that, GMs and scouts, they're going to look at like, hey, we can, mold him. He got the frame and everything like that. We have some on our hands. But then on the other side, you have other players like Jacorian Bennett that wasn't in the spotlight that had great production. So, But him, he had a great career, in Maryland, and then he come from Maryland at the combine and everything like that, and Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, whatever he was in, he did great work as well too. And then he kind of like smoked the combine, and that's when we came in and was like, hey, this is a guy that we kind of need for us. So he had a fantastic OTAs and training camp as well. I mean, we just kept seeing like him, just making plays like, on Devontae or Jacoby Myers, like anybody. And then also we seen a few clips of him making plays like on Debo Samuel when we had that joint practice with San Francisco. So he's been all over the field. He's had a great camp, and that's the reason why he's going to be on the opposite side of Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters' addition helped us a lot with versatility. We kind of need that cornerback one. You kind of feel like the role that Casey Hayward was when Gus Bradley was over here. He's cornerback one, so that created flexibility for Nate Haas to go back into the nickel position, where he was stellar his rookie year, being one of the top 10 rated cornerbacks when he was in nickel. So him going back to his natural position helps us out anyway as well too. We brought in David Long. Still have Amik Robertson. So we have guys that that can play it in nickel and also on the outside. But I think the big thing as far as the defense and also the Raiders that we preach is versatility on both sides of the ball, on the opposite sides of the ball. So that just helps us as well as far as our secondary room. I mean, Marcus Epps we got from Philly. Trayvon Moore that we drafted a few years ago, he really hasn't, panned out for real as far as like production, like interceptions and everything like that. But he's going to have a good year as well. We're bringing in Marcus Epps and also drafting Chris Smith from Georgia as well too in the fifth round. So, we had a solid draft. Defensive wise, bringing in Byron Young as well, D tackle from Alabama. But it was some head scratches. Drafting wise, but I think as far as like when you really look at the outlook, really had a solid draft. Now we have to see them play to make a final assumption or a final grade on that. But draft class was kind of solid. I mean, compared to the previous years of us drafting. So yeah,
sure. Yeah, it looks like it's some contributors. I mean, if Bennett's really able to come in and hold his own, kind of similar to Damari Mathis, who the Broncos got in the fourth round last year. Had a rough start, strong finish, has been wonderful in camp, so much so that they haven't even thought about bringing in another vet really outside to challenge that spot. It's really been his job since the offseason, which is interesting because Sean Payton definitely has come in with a whirlwind. So I think that will be something interesting. I don't know how the Broncos offensively will attack the Raiders in this game with only potentially, going into the matchup with three healthy receivers on the 53-man roster. They will call up a few. So Philip Dorsett, former Raider Hall of Famer, and a guy like Kendall Hinton or some other guys with that. I assume it'll be heavy tight end sets, utilize and mix and match some of those things in big personnel. I wouldn't assume Sean Payton's not really a guy that goes five wide. So I think it's a group that he feels comfortable with having a smaller room for. If Russell Wilson is as mobile as he has looked through camp, I think that will be a huge key. One, it helps pull the edge defender, boots, those kind of things. If it's a read option, to be able to create some confusion on the mesh, and that really creates some opportunities to help out the offensive line. It makes a guy like Max Crosby maybe have to wait a half a tick, and that that'll be huge because Mike McGlinchey and Garrett Bowles are susceptible to getting beat, and to be honest, Max Crosby is going to be a guy that's going to threaten even the best, and he's someone that they have not game planned for really well over the last few years. They have decided to allow people to go one-on-one with Crosby for the majority of the game. Don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. I'd be chipping him till his ribs are hurt. I've watched Von Miller go through it for a long time. It's the objective is to win the game, not to win a pissing contest. And so you don't have to say that your guys beat their best guys one-on-one. Your team has scored more points. And so I think that will be something important. Defensively, I think it'll be really interesting just to see how Davante Adams moves around for the Broncos, whether or not they'll continue to match up with Pat Surtain in the week 1 matchup or the first matchup last year. When Pat Surtain was on Davante Adams, he had a really good game. Second game, Davante Adams had a phenomenal outing, right? Walk-off touchdown, the whole 9. And so I would trust Pat Surtain as much as I would trust anyone on someone as good as Davante Adams. Davante Adams is phenomenal, and the league makes it difficult for defensive backs anyway. You put on top of it how good he is, and I think that Josh McDaniels would do a good job about scheming him open too. So that is someone I'm worried about. I'm not really overly worried about Jacoby Myers and guys like that. However, it's been guys like that in the past that have really been an issue for Denver. And so Damari Mathis' ability to really match up with wide receiver 2, I think, will be huge. And can Denver continue to improve against the tight end? So, Austin Hooper and Meyer might not be guys that are, 4.4, 4.5, 40 guys like Darren Waller. However, they're both smart, heady pass receivers who, can they get 5 or 6 yards a catch? And if so, they're going to move some chains. And that's really going to be something that I think Denver has to plan for. I would assume, my perspective is the Raiders definitely have the edge in the special teams unit. 2 phenomenal, a punter and a kicker who have been really good and consistent over time. You also have the Broncos' former long snapper and Jake and Bobenmeyer, UNC alum, go Bears. So with all that being said, I'm going to put you on the spotlight here. What's your prediction for Sunday? Score and all.
Is it raining? Is it raining in Denver?
No, it's hot.
It's hot. So what about Sunday?
I believe it should be hot throughout. Sunday, there's a chance of rain. Potentially. Depends on when. I don't know when yet, but it'll be about 75 degrees or so.
I say
if it's really rainy, does that change your outlook?
It does, because it's not going to be a whole lot of points scored. It's going to be mainly possession.
It sounds like it probably won't be till the later part of the evening. So maybe in the fourth quarter, but most likely later in the day.
I think 24-19 Raiders.
24-19. Interesting. Who's the key to the game? To get that score, who has to play well?
Josh McDaniels. The O-line, D-line, Jacobs. Devontae is going to be Devontae. I think that we just need I think another key person is Hunter Renfrow. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. He's looked great in camp. He took the time off, did some self-realization, the bumps and bruises as he had last year. I think he's going to come out, Hunter Renfrow that we all know. I think it's just these linebackers as well, too, man. Everybody's really kind of skeptical of these linebackers, man. It's just like you bring in Robert Spillane, then you bring in a rookie late round that's prone to start, and then you had Devon Diablo that's supposed to be the man for us, but he really hasn't really shown too much either. So it's like a young, unexperienced type linebacker core. So I think that that's going to be a key to win. They have to command the defense, and they have to make sure everybody's in their place. So I think the trenches, and also play calling, and Jimmy G and Josh Jacobs, and then the corners as well. So I mean everybody, but the key people that I said was the trenches, linebackers, Josh, both Joshes. So yeah.
So if your name's Josh, you got to play well and
Yeah,
coach
you
well.
got to.
All right, I'll take it. I think for the Broncos to win, I'm going to do it in reverse. For the Broncos to win, I think it's hard because Russell Wilson actually had a really good game the first game last year against the Raiders. Defensively, they weren't able to hold up. They couldn't stop a nosebleed, right? The Broncos scored, I believe, with like 6 minutes left. Never got the ball back.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is some trepidation on, how good does he have to play? I think Russ has to have a good game. And I think that he's going to have to not only be efficient, but I think he's going to need 30 or 40 yards on the ground. And my prescription for the Broncos, he has to do that every game. I think that threat, the Seattle, threat of him being able to create some things, pick up some first downs in critical situations with his feet. He went away from that last year by design. It was a bad plan. But to do that, I think, or for this team to be successful, I think that will have to happen. If the offense does some of the things that Sean Payton showed in the preseason, there was some design runs, some zone reads. I think that will be kind of an easy thing. I think that they're going to put themselves in better position. So I think Russ has to be really good with football, especially with Jerry Jeudy likely out. It's Cortland Sutton and then some young guys, really. And so if he plays well, that means he's going to elevate the guys around him. And then I think Mike McGlinchey has to have a great game. I think him against Max Crosby, he has to win more than he doesn't. And when he loses, it can't be catastrophic, right? Because Max Crosby, he could beat Max, all but 2 plays of the game. But if those are strip sack fumbles, those 2 plays are game changers, and that's the narrative. And so it can't be that. It can be some significant pressure, maybe, a sack, but nothing that leads directly to a turnover.
Yep.
If Max Crosby is able to change the game, which he is capable of doing, it will really mute some of the other things. And then on defense, I think, Mike Purcell and DJ Jones, those 2 guys, especially interior, have to be a handful. If your interior offensive line gets the push that it got in both matchups last year, I think that the Broncos will lose. I think it'll be as simple as that. I am going to take Denver. I agree with Yordi, actually, 24-17, because I think Sean Payton's a better coach. I think that will be the thing. One, I'm just bitter. Josh McDaniels did us dirty. Not happy about it. But I think it's, and I've said it on our podcast for a while, I think it's the first time where I feel that the Broncos have a advantage in their coaching room over most teams in a long time since Gary Kubiak was here. It's been void of that, where you feel like you're not going to get out schemed or out coached. They might lose X's and O's for sure. I don't know how the defensive line will hold up. They have guys who have been successful. That said, they're question marks. This group together hasn't done it in a while, so we got to see how that goes. And Russ has to show that he's not washed. And so all of that is put up or shut up. But I think it'll be a good game. I think it's like you said, I think that there are 2 teams that really have to kind of re-identify who they are and win with some smash mouth football. And their defense has to play up a little bit and not just rely on, Pat Surtain to carry the defense, or Justin Simmons or Max Crosby. Some guys who are lesser known names have to really kind of make it for themselves. So I think it'll be a good showing. I think it'll be a good matchup. And I expect it to be a fun game. Where will you be watching the game at there, Big Whip?
Probably home. My dad, or probably go somewhere and watch it, bar or something like that, but probably home.
Well, do yourself a favor. Don't become that guy that gets viral throwing the remote. Don't be that guy.
No, I have self constraint.
Nice job. Nice job. I have graduated. I may or may not be out of the game, so hopefully it doesn't rain, because I am not waterproof. So let's not hope. I appreciate you joining. Again, go follow my guy at Whitville, WHITVILLE. Go follow all of his doings. He's all over the place. Like he said, he invites just fandom Discord, having some conversations about football, as you can see or hear within the podcast. My man's a good dude. So I appreciate you joining us, sir, for Wit and the Orange and Brew podcast. As always, take care of one another and go Broncos.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway.